All right, so this is part 2 of the review. I'll start with number 10. It says the age of employees at a company are summarized in the table below. Use the information to answer the questions. So A says an employee is selected at random. Find the probability that the employee is 30 to 39. All right, what do I need to know first? I need to know the total. So you should add up the 85, 140, 335, 215, and 105. It gives you a total of 880. Then 30 to 39, you can see that's 335 over 880. Let's just use Desmos. So I'm going to switch to Desmos, and I have the scientific calculator. I'm going to put 335 divided by 880, and there's the decimal, but let's switch it to a fraction, so I have 67 over 176. Okay, then the next one says 19 to 49. So 19 to 49, that's a bunch of them. So it's the 140, it's the 335, and it's the 215. So let's write that 140, 335, and the 215, still over 880. So if I add 140, 335, and 215, we get 690 over 880. Okay, so same thing. I could just switch over. This one actually comes up pretty nice, but I'll just show you. So let's push enter and say this was 690 over 880. Not a lot really happens there. When I hit the fraction, it says 69 over 88. So let's write that. All right, so then at least 30, okay? So at least 30 says 30 or more. So that's these. So this one has 335, it has 215, and it has 105. Important really to look at like the words so that you see at least and you think, okay, at least is 30 or more. Okay, so let's go back, and this is 105, and again, all over 880, so this denominator is not switching. So 335, 215, 105, this is 655 over 880. Again, let's just switch over and say 655 divided by 880. And here our fraction is 131 over 176. I'll kind of circle these so you can see them separately. Okay, and then it says not 50 or over. So not 50 or over, there's only 105 people that were 50 and over, so easier to do 880 minus 105, like to do that complement. When I look at that 880 minus 105, that gives me 775 over 180. And again, let's reduce that. Oops, well, I had the wrong thing anyway. Let's fix it. 775 divided by 880. And then let's make that a fraction, 155 over 176. And again, let me circle it. All right, so just using the chart, dividing, biggest thing is probably reducing, and make sure you do put it in lowest terms. Okay, 11 says a restaurant has 5 locations in Las Vegas, 2 locations in Reno, and 3 locations in Los Angeles, along with 8 locations in San Diego. If a restaurant is selected at random, let's find the probability it's in Las Vegas or Los Angeles. Just like I did in the last one, where do I want to start? I want to start with the total. So I can see I had 5, we had 2, we had 3, we had 8, right? So I had 5, 2, 3, and 8. You want to add that together, and that says there's 18 in total. So from those 18, it says Las Vegas or Los Angeles. So notice it said 5 were in Las Vegas and 3 in Los Angeles out of the 18. So 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 over 18. We know we can divide each of those by 2, so 8 divided by 2 is 4, 18 divided by 2 is 9. And then it says not in San Diego, so when you look it says there are 8 in San Diego, so 18 minus 8, that says there's 10 that are not in San Diego. I have 10 over 18. Again, I'm just going to divide by 2, which is 5 over 9. You're free to go over and use Desmos anytime though, so if you don't want to do the fractions, just plug it in the calculator. All right, so let's move on to the spinner. So this says use the spinner to answer the question. If you spin the spinner once, find the probability of landing on an even. There are 5 choices. The 2 and the 4 are even, so I have 2 over 5. A number greater than 2, so that does not include 2, so we're only looking at 3, 4, and 5. That's 3 out of 5. Then it says an odd, or a number less than 3. So odd would be 1, 3, and 5. Those are the odds. Less than 3 would also pick up the 2. So 1, 2, 3, 5. That says 4 out of 5. And I'm leaving all of these just as fractions. All right. Then it says landing on a 2 given the number is even. And there's 2 questions here, so let's kind of split it. So landing on a 2 given the number is even. Well, remember we said there are 2 even numbers. So the 2 and the 4. Landing on a 2, there's one way to land on a 2, so this is a half. It's really important that when you see this word given, it becomes the denominator. So same thing with part E, landing on a 3 given the number is greater than 2. So greater than 2 is 3, 4, or 5. So there's 3 ways to be greater than 2. One of those choices is a 3. Okay, again, this given becomes the denominator. 13 says a bag contains 8 red, 4 blue, and 2 green marbles. We choose one at random. We want to find the probability of choosing a marble that is not blue. Not a surprise, how am I going to start? I'm going to start by finding my total. So 8, 4, and 2 gives me 14. Not blue. So there are 4 blue, which means there are 10 that are not. So 10 out of 14, that can reduce to 5 over 7. B says, what are the odds of choosing a red marble? I want you to try to slow yourself down once you see odds and think you have to do 4 and again. So odds of getting a red, well, look at it, there are 8 red. There are 8 red, which means there are 6 things that are not red. So this is red to not red, right? Really pay attention to that you have to do 4 and against. With odds, the bottom, the second one, is not the 14 like we had before. Now that we have that, and let me just get that out of the way, we want to reduce it. So just like we've been reducing other things, we need to reduce this. So 8 is even, 6 is even, let's divide by 2. I end up with 4 to 3. Okay. C says, what are the odds of not choosing a green ball? So this is not green. There are 2 green. Let's put the green on the right side. Not green are the rest of them. And the rest of them really should be 12. Okay, so red or blue, those are not green, so 8 and 4 is 12. Green, just 2. Again, you want to reduce that, so that's going to become 6 to 1. Okay, 13 says the odds of rain are 1 to 4. What's the probability of rain? Odds and probability have to be different. So when I go from odds to probability, I keep the first number, it goes on top, and on the bottom I add the 4 and the 1 together, I get 1 over 5. Says the odds that it will be over 100 degrees on a summer day in a city are 7 to 3. Find the probability it will be over 100 degrees. Same thing, the first number becomes my numerator. I add them together, 3 plus 7, which gives me 10. That's my denominator. So just remember, add the 2 together to get the bottom, and the first number goes on top. Okay. 16 says, a survey asked participants how many credit cards they have. The results are listed in the table below. If a person is selected at random, find the probability. So this one, I did start you off a little better because we already have the total is 200. It says, what's the probability they have 0 credit cards? Well, the top one says 58 out of 200. Let's just flip over to Desmos. 58 divided by 200 We can see the decimal is 0.29, but if we want it as a fraction, 29 over 100. At least one credit card. So at least one credit card is one or more. So that would be everything else. Now what we just figured out is that 58 people don't have a credit card. So the easiest version of do this would be 200 minus 58. So 200 minus 58 is 142. And again, over 200. Let's flip to Desmos. I have 142. Let's divide by 200. And let's flip it over. There's 71 over 100. Part C says more than 2 credit cards. So more than 2 would be 3 or 4, 5 or 6, 7 or more. So we want to add that first. So we have 36, 18, 14 over 200. Adding the top together, I get 68. This is over 200. Again, we could flip over to Desmos. I'm just going to tell you this is 17 over 50. All right, so this is where I'm going to stop this one. I'll make one more video with the rest of the problems.